Iceland's have brought out a Christmas dinner for 4 people for £25. I think I can do it for less than £25. I think I can do it for under a tenner. Gone through it. I've had a look at what Iceland are offering. It's all frozen food, obviously, because it's Iceland. It doesn't even include a pudding. I reckon I can include a pudding in the mix as well. So that's my challenge, my limited budget challenge for this week. I'm going to make a Christmas dinner with all the trimmings, and I'm going to chuck a pudding into the mix as well. And then we'll compare it to what you get from the £25 offering with Iceland. Now, I'm going to use a few hacks and tricks to get around some of the pricing, and which I will share with you in this video and give you a few tips. And we're going to aim to make it a little bit more fresher than the Iceland frozen offerings. So the Iceland's £25 for 4 people Christmas dinner includes turkey covered in bacon, carrots, parsnips, stuffing balls, pigs in blankets, roast potatoes, gravy, Brussels sprouts loaded with bacon. So lots of bacon. If you're into your bacon, this is a great menu for your Christmas dinner. Let's take a look at some of the items and see what we can do in comparison. So those are the ingredients, and that's what's on offer from the Iceland's £25 for Christmas dinner for 4 people. Like I mentioned, there's quite a lot of bacon in it. There's bacon on the turkey, there's bacon on the pigs in blankets, there's bacon in with the Brussels sprouts. As part of this challenge, I'm going to replicate the majority of the stuff you get from the Iceland package. To save money, a couple of factors I'm going to key in, which anyone can do in the UK. I'm going to be substituting out the turkey because I personally think turkey's overrated, and I'm going to be substituting it for chicken because chicken is so much cheaper and is good enough for the rest of the year. So I don't understand why we need to have a turkey for Christmas dinner. Turns out to be dry half the time anyway. So I'm going to go to Aldi's and pick up their chicken legs. I'll show you a quick picture. There's pretty much always a guarantee you're going to get 4 chicken legs in that pack, and that comes in at £2.25. Massively cheaper than turkey, and in my opinion, the leg is the best meat on the chicken anyway. Full of flavour, full of juiciness. It's just delicious. So that's a whole chicken leg per person when we divide the meal for 4 people. I'm going to make sure we've got parsnips. I'm going to make sure we've got Brussels sprouts. I'm going to make sure we've got carrots, and I'll make sure that we do our homemade roast potatoes. Now, here's one of the key savings you can do in order to get your Christmas dinner for 4 people under £10. That is to take advantage of the supermarket vegetable wars. Now, these take place, and they've been guaranteed this year. They've been confirmed already between 18th and the 24th of December. So around about the time you're going to go pick up your veg for a Christmas dinner if you want it fresh anyway. So factoring that in, we should only be paying 8p for the Brussels sprouts, parsnips, carrots, potatoes, and they're going to be fresh veg. And you're not restricted to just Aldi's. You can get these in Lidl's, you can get these in Asda's, and I believe a couple of other supermarkets have confirmed that they will be doing their discounted prices. Now, bear in mind, this isn't affecting the farmers, the growers, because they have announced that the supermarkets will take a hit on their bottom line in order to do the vegetable reduction prices. Is not going to be impacting the farmers. It's not like they've taken the money and reduced it for the farmers who are growing these veg. So it is the big corporation supermarkets which take the financial hit on that. I know for some people that might be an issue, so I thought I'd just bring that up. So that factored in is going to massively bring down the cost. So the chicken swapping out the turkey and the veg. I'm not going to stop waffling. I'm just going to make sure. I just wanted to clarify a few of those things. I'm going to go for a mix between Aldi's and the Asda's. There's certain things I know which are on offer in Asda's, which I'll go through with you when I get back from the shops. And I just love Aldi's. Everyone who watches my channel knows that I predominantly shop in Aldi's. Something I'll mix up in challenges going forwards. But for this one, I'm going to stick with my favourite Aldi's for a few of the ingredients. I'll see you back home in the kitchen. We'll go through what we picked up. Right, there we go. There's our food haul between Aldi's and Asda's. Total price for the entire thing, £8.98. So you still got £1 and 2p left over to spend. You could maybe get yourself a bottle of fizzy drink if you wanted to have fizzy drink, some orange juice or something like that. Or you could swap out your pudding. First thing, let's just tick that off the list straight away. We're swapping out turkey for chicken. We've got the chicken legs there. They came in, and I'll put the price up while I'm talking about it, but I'll go for it at the same time. So the chicken came in at £2.25. There's 4 chicken legs there, so that's more than enough chicken for each person. Next up, we're going to tackle the second most expensive item on the list. So I went out and got the pigs in blankets, because everyone loves pigs in blankets. It's a real Christmas thing to have. So it's your pork sausages wrapped in smoky streaky bacon. These are the cheapest ones I could find, came in at £2.12. Again, this is another Asda's Christmas version. We've got the sage and onion stuffing mix to make our stuffing balls to go with the chicken. This is 45p, and you can make 16 stuffing balls. Moving on to the veg. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, you've got all the supermarkets, and they will be entering the supermarket veg wars, which they do at Easter and Christmas. Multiple have guaranteed it starting from the 18th. I've seen Lidl's, Aldi's and Asda's, and I believe Tesco's are doing theirs at 15p with a club card. So, you know, you can use your nearest supermarket when it comes to the veg options. I've just gone out and grabbed it now so I can get this video up in time so you guys can use this if you need to. But you're going to need to go shopping between the 18th and the 24th, all the way up to Christmas Eve, to make the most and benefit from the cheap veg. Based this off of Asda's. I was going to go to Aldi's, but I based this off of I grabbed the veg from Asda's, but the rules apply. Certain different veg from certain different supermarkets. I know that Asda's often do broccoli, so if you're not got, you know, if you don't like your Brussels sprouts, you can always swap them out. I know that Lidl's are doing cabbage, I believe. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but they do mix and alternate, so you can shop around for different veg. The main staple, the most important one, is going to be your 2 kilograms of potatoes, because we're going to make the roast potatoes, which we will go through later on. And then you've got your carrots, your parsnips for your roast parsnips. I picked up Brussels sprouts. Now, in the Iceland one, like I said already, there's a load of bacon. There's bacon wrapped over the turkey. There's bacon bits in with the Brussels sprouts. There's bacon on the pigs in blankets. Now, you've got a spare pound, so there's options on that spare pound. You could buy yourself some fizzy drink or something to go at the table. A pound will get you cooking bacon. I've done that a lot in my limited budget challenges. You get a lot of cooking bacon, dice that up. That'll go nicely with the Brussels sprouts. I personally think we've got enough bacon with what we've got on the table anyway. Bonus item, because we've got a lot of carrots there, so I've got a Swede, because the Swede will be in the Veg Wars 8p vegetables. So we're going to make a carrot and Swede mash, which is an extra item on the table compared to the Iceland's offering. Picked up some cheap Asda's Essential Range Clear Honey. This is to do the honey glazed roasted parsnips. This came in at 99p. Just so we can make sure that we've got a nice roasted glaze on them. Thinking about it, obviously, I'm going to allow a little bit of cooking oil for this meal. You could use that pound to pick up some butter, dripping. Dripping's a key one for your potatoes, some cooking fat, anything like that. So you could do your roast potatoes in oil if you really wanted to include that. I'm just going on the basis that most people have some kind of cooking oil in their house. But there you go. There's your other option with that spare pound. I've added cranberry sauce to the mix. You can use cranberry sauce with turkey, chicken, anything like that. I do like a bit of cranberry sauce, and so does my son. So we're going to have cranberry sauce with our roasted chicken, just to make it that little bit more festive. Cheap gravy. When we start cooking this dinner, I'll show you how to pep this up a little bit, give it a little bit of a flavour enhancement, just to give it that extra kick. So cheap gravy granules do the job. We can improve on the actual gravy granules themselves. I didn't tell you the price on that one, did I? So this is from Asda's, and it came in on their special offer at the moment at 55p. Their gravy granules come in at 45p. These are the cheapest gravy granules I can find. I use them quite a lot because I like to add stuff to them to improve on them. I think it saves money in the long run. Right, let's move on to the pudding. So the added bonus pudding that I wanted to add into the mix, we've got some, I've got tea all over it. I've just got home from, look, you can see it in the corner there. I just made a massive cup of tea because I just got back from the shops, and I was desperate for a cuppa. Right, 6 deep filled mince pies. These came in at £1.25. There is other options if you don't like mince pies. They've got the little mini chocolate Yule logs, which are about that size, which are pre-packed. You can get for £1.10, or you could switch it out for anything really that you wanted pudding wise. With that, so we're going to have heated up mince pies with creamy custard. So this is another Asda's item. So I actually ended up doing a lot more in Asda's. I predominantly went to Aldi's for the chicken and the mince pies because they were the cheaper option. But the custard comes in at 52p at the moment. So on rollback, 52p. There you go. So there's loads of food there. We're going to hit all the different ingredients included in the Iceland box. Plus we're going to do carrot and swede mash. Plus we've got a pudding on offer. And it all comes in well under £10 for 4 people. So if you're on a really tight budget this Christmas, if you want to limit the amount you're spending on food, maybe to put that extra money over to presents, or just because you haven't got the money and you just want to save some money and you still want to get into the Christmas spirit, I think this one is a brilliant option. Not missing out on just having turkey. Swapping chicken for turkey, honestly, it's not a big deal, and you're going to save so much money. I was in Asda's the other day and I was looking at some of the turkeys and they're like 30 quid. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. I'd rather have chicken or pork if you've got a high budget, or even a bit of lamb if you're feeling flush, but you won't find me buying a turkey this time of year. Anyway, enough waffling. What I'm going to do is get this all organised, and then I'm going to go through with you and we're going to cook it all up, present it all out, 4 plates, 4 puddings, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. Right, first things first, we're going to prep the veg. So we're going to get out enough potatoes. You don't need to use all these, but get enough potatoes out, get them peeled, and then we're going to get them parboiled. Right, slice the potatoes in half. If you've got people who eat a lot more roast potatoes, there's still about 6 or 7 potatoes left, so you could always add more in if you wanted to. So we've got the carrots, so I'm going to do the majority of the carrots for carrot and swede mash, and we'll hold some back for roasting. So you've got 2 types of carrots. I'm going to get them peeled and top and tailed, so you just take the top and the bottom off, and then we're going to peel them. An optional extra, which you don't have to do, but I like to crumble in a stock cube. Just adds a bit of extra flavour to it while it's boiling in the water. Again, you don't need to do that. You can just boil them with a little bit of salt. I've got a load of the carrot diced up, ready to go in our carrot and swede mash. And I've got some in the pan, ready to be roasted with the parsnips. Next, we're going to dice up the swede to go in with the carrot. Right, that's the swede diced up, ready to go with the carrots. We'll boil that down, and then when it's all softened, we can mash it with a bit of butter and pepper. Next, we've got the parsnips. I'll leave the skin on the parsnips, so I'm going to give them a good scrub. Take the top and bottoms off, and then get them ready to go in with the carrots for roasting. So the parsnips are all trimmed down, washed, ready to go. I've just added a little bit of oil. I'm just going to make sure everything's coated in the oil. And then over the top of that, we're going to add some of the honey we picked up. And these are going to go in the oven to roast. Just going to tip it over. That'll do. Then we're just going to mix that in. I'm just going to get my hands in there because I don't mind getting messy. But I want the veg completely coated in that sticky honey. Then we're going to stick that in the oven to... Keeping an eye on those potatoes, making sure they go soft but they don't get too soft. And we've finally got 1 lot of veg left to prep. And that is our Brussels sprouts. Now you don't get too many in the bag, but it's okay though because not everyone's a Brussels sprout fan. So you're just going to take off the outer skin. Now let me know in the comments if you do this with your Brussels sprouts. This is how my nan used to do it, so this is how I do it. You just get a knife and you do a cross in the bottom. Now I really don't like boiled Brussels sprouts. I think it makes them taste bitter. I don't know what it is about them being boiled, so I'll be steaming my Brussels sprouts. You can even finish them off in a bit of butter and bacon if you want to do the whole Iceland's bacon with everything once you steamed them. But I'm just going to go for some steamed Brussels sprouts. So we've got roasted carrots, roasted parsnips, carrot and swede mash, roast potatoes and steamed Brussels sprouts. That's plenty of veg. More than enough for 4 people there. Anything left over is going to be a bubble and squeak anyway. So that's that prepped. That's pretty much everything prepped veg wise. Just going to wait for those potatoes and I'll show you what I do to drain them off, just to dry them out a bit extra. The potatoes are done. Just going to drain them off and then they go back in the pan. You just put them over the heat and the heat just removes any extra from any extra moisture. We've got the fat, which we're going to use for the roast potatoes, in the tray heated up in the oven. And then we're going to put the potatoes directly in here, just being careful with the splashback. Get them all coated in the fat. Right, let's make these sage and onion stuffing mix. So we're just going to add some water to this. These are going to go in the air fryer. Everything I'm cooking today, you've got options for the roast potatoes, the chicken, the stuffing balls, the pigs in blankets, they can all go in the air fryer. You could even put your parsnips and your carrots if you wanted to. So let's get these made up. So we're going to take out the stuffing mix. Just going to whack it in a bowl. Add in 400 ml of boiling water. And we're going to stir that through so there's no clumps and then there's no dry bits of stuffing mix remaining. Then we just leave that to stand for 5 minutes. Right, so we're going to get the chicken into the air fryer. So we're just going to place, so normally you get 4 chicken legs. We've ended up with 5, so we've got extra. We can put them in the other side of the air fryer. Put a tiny bit of oil over the top just to crisp it up. Chuck a few mixed herbs on the top. Vicky just gave me a rum and coke. Thank you, babe. Then some black pepper. And a little bit of salt over the top. This is going to make some really nice crispy skin for the top of that chicken. I'm going to put the other 2 in the other side of the air fryer, get them cooking. Right, we're going to make some stuffing balls up. So you can make these as big as small or as small as you want them to be. I quite like big stuffing balls. Just a couple each. Chuck them in a tray, then we can chuck them in the oven. Drain off the carrot and swede mash, and then we're going to let that drain off completely, and then we're going to add a little bit of butter, and then we're going to mash that down a bit. The pigs in blankets in the oven or the air fryer, depending on how you're going to want to cook them. Let a generous knob of butter melt through. Again, the knob of butter is optional, you don't have to add that. You could add a bit of margarine if you wanted to, or you could just leave it as is. Depends on what you got in the cupboards. Give that a good mash. You need a healthy, generous amount of black pepper in here as well. One of my favourite things to have with a roast dinner is carrot and swede mash. Right, we're going to make the gravy up. So we've got the Just Essentials gravy granules. They're not the best in the world, but they still do the job. For best results, you want to make up 300 ml of gravy, put 4 heaped teaspoons. So we're going to double it up because everyone loves gravy in this house. We're going to go 8 heaped teaspoons for 600 ml. And you're adding boiling water. And then I'll show you a little trick to make it even more tasty. I'm going to go 8 heaped teaspoons, 600 ml of boiling water. Give that a good stir. So that's nice and thick. I mean, it's not the best gravy in the world, but it is a budget gravy. Here's a little trick to make it, you have a nice beefier, meatier flavour. Half a teaspoon of Bovril or Marmite if you've got it. Mix that through. It will dissolve into the gravy. Stir that through and we're pretty much ready to serve up. Pretty much loaded up. Just going to add 3 pigs in blankets on each plate. Let me know in the comments what you think. We've got chicken leg instead of turkey, pigs in blankets, stuffing balls, Brussels sprouts, honey caramelised, parsnips, carrots, carrot and swede mash, and some extra crispy, lovely roast potatoes. And as you can see, that's made 4 lots. Ooh, let's move that mug out of the way. As you can see, that's made 4 lots of dinner. We've got that lovely gravy to go over the top. Like I said, it's not the best gravy, but this is roast dinner on a budget. It might be budget gravy, but it's not runny gravy. And that, for me, is the most important thing. Let me know in the comments if you love your Christmas dinner swimming in gravy as well. And then the final thing, which we had as a bonus extra, a bit of that cranberry sauce, which will go nicely with the chicken. Don't need it. It doesn't just have to be for turkey. I'm going to take this plate here, so I'm going to add some. I'll offer it to everyone else. I won't just assume and put it on their plate. But there you go. That's your 4 Christmas dinners done for just under £9. Not bad for under £10. A lot of it is homemade, so it's nice and fresh veg. I think that's a decent plate of food for Christmas Day. I'm really happy with that. Just a little bit of prep work, a little bit of time management. Everyone's stuff from Christmas dinner. I don't think I need to show you much of the pudding, just that you get your 6 deep filled mince pies like so. You can heat these up, you can put them in the air fryer for a few minutes, you can stick them in the oven as well, and if you're really feeling lazy, stick them in the microwave. And then we got the custard ready to serve custard, so you can actually eat this cold, or you can just heat it up on the stove in the microwave over the top of your mince pies and custard. And there you go, there's your pudding. You could technically do 6 lots of pudding there, or if you're greedy like me, later on this evening, because I don't tend to have my pudding straight after I've had my Christmas dinner, I'll have 2 mince pies with some custard. Lovely. Look, I hope you found that interesting. I wanted to set myself the challenge of seeing how cheap I could do Christmas dinner. I think I did a good job of it. I know that there might be some people out there who swear by having turkey with their Christmas dinner, but honestly, chicken's good enough for the rest of the year. I think turkey's overrated and it's certainly overpriced. So if you can get past that and you're happy to have chicken, you get plenty of chicken down at Aldi's for £2.20, £2.25. Loads of roast potatoes, loads of veg, a little bit more prep. You can't just show it. It's not frozen food like the Iceland's offer, but it's significantly cheaper. So we came in at under £9. A few people, when I mentioned about doing this video on the channel, said make sure you got Yorkshire puddings. You got a spare £1. You could always get the stuff to make Yorkshires if you want to stick it with it. I am actually someone who has Yorkshire pudding with pretty much every roast dinner, but I tried to go along the guidelines of what was in the Iceland's deal. Added on the pudding, added on the carrot and swede mash. Enough waffling. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this at Christmas time, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, and I'll hopefully see you in a future video. Bye bye.